Hey guys, it's Lalit. It is early morning here on March 5th. Just got a quick summit update for you. First day of the summit is done. It was sweet. We got some cool stuff going on. The keynote speaker today was Dr. Raj Punjabi of Tiateen Health. Yeah, that's right. And here's a quick clip from his talk that talks about why the concept of social justice is important, and also introduces the concept of Ubuntu for the summit. So take a look.
In 2006, when I was a medical student, I volunteered in a public clinic in northern Liberia. And one morning, a mother brought her newborn girl, Mayonjo, into our clinic. She was in a panic. Mayonjo's lips appeared violet blue, and the muscles around her ribs and neck were retracting deeply, a sign that she was in severe respiratory distress and likely on the verge of suffocation. Only a week old, she had been born 8 hours away by foot in a village. Her mother had walked since daybreak to bring her sick, air-hungry daughter to the clinic. Her respiratory distress foretold that a bacterial infection was ravaging her little body. I held her tiny, frail body in my arms, and I listened to her harsh breath sounds with my stethoscope. It reminded me of choked car engines. We quickly tried to act to save her by administering two powerful antibiotics. But the most basic support, oxygen, was not available in our clinic. The antibiotics would take several hours to work to kill the bacteria that were destroying her lungs. So my colleagues and I desperately went begging for oxygen to the only unit in town, an obstetrical unit, that had one. It was a makeshift obstetrical unit. Mercifully, the staff at that OB unit, which used that oxygen tank to take care of pregnant mothers that come in that need cesarean sections to make sure they don't die from childbirth, they lended it to us. They said they'd have to ask for it back if there was an emergency. We agreed. We hoisted the large, heavy tank to our clinic. We attached the tubing and began supplying Mayonjo with much-needed oxygen. Nearly instantaneously, she responded, appeared less distressed, with more regular breathing. We all had hope at that moment. Her blue lips had now turned slightly pink. If she could only last another half a day, I thought, with the oxygen, maybe the antibiotics would destroy enough bacteria so that she would survive. The next morning, I learned Mayonjo had died only 5 hours after I had left the clinic. According to the clinic staff, a pregnant woman experiencing obstructed labor was in urgent need of a cesarean section operation and had been admitted to the obstetrical unit where we had borrowed the oxygen tank from that night. The surgical staff of that unit rushed to our clinic to retrieve the tank, and they weaned, if that's the right word for it, Mayonjo off the oxygen. Within 30 minutes, she had died, starved of oxygen. In the meanwhile, the mother for whom the oxygen was retrieved delivered a healthy newborn girl. I couldn't help but feel dismayed by the violence, in all its irony, that had just occurred. In order to safely bring one newborn into the world, we literally were forced to take the life of another. The clinic staff and I wanted to stop such suffering from happening again. And so we talked to the manager of the international aid agency that was supporting the clinic I was in. We asked her for an oxygen tank, and she offered this rebuke. Quote, "This isn't America, and we can't realistically expect to achieve their standard of healthcare in Liberia. Their goal as an aid agency," she said, quote again, "was to ensure that hospitals supported by them would be no better than what would be expected at any other African hospital." I don't think you need to be a scholar of Rawls to pick up on what she was really saying. I guess African newborns who suffocate aren't expected to need oxygen. I present that grim story, again, to describe what can happen when we don't let social justice guide our work. If social justice does guide our work to help us look at problems and analyze them in global health, then Ubuntu, the second part of your theme of this conference, I think can be viewed as a strategy to respond to those problems. Ubuntu, as I understand it, is an ethic or humanist philosophy, per Wikipedia, focused on people's allegiances and relations with each other. I think Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop from South Africa, said it best. One of the sayings in our country, he said, is Ubuntu is the essence of being human. Ubuntu speaks particularly about the fact that you can't exist as a human being in isolation. It speaks about our interconnectedness. A person with Ubuntu is open and available to others, affirming of others, does not feel threatened that others are able and good, for he or she has a proper self-assurance that comes from knowing that he or she belongs in a greater whole and is diminished when others are humiliated or diminished, when others are tortured or oppressed. Quite simply, Ubuntu, as the Zulus put it, means that a person is a person through other persons. It's an expression connoting deep human solidarity. For TH,
following Dr. Punjabi's talk, we had we broke up into small groups and we talked about our discernments and motivations. And Sana Rahim, our Global Health Youth Coordinator, spoke in front of the entire group, and here's what she had to say about her discernments and motivations.
I think GlobeMed really understands that, has committed itself to the belief that we're not sending students to save the world. You know, we're not interested in saving the world, nor can we, but we're interested in allowing students to become part of movements that are growing all over the world. And I can't wait to see what all of us end up accomplishing in the future.
And then to close it out, here's some reactions from our members of what they thought of the first day. Check it out. This is on the conference flow in Parks Hall, so check it out.
2, 3, go.
Hi, my name is Jake Neiman, and I had a great time tonight, the first night of the GlobeMed Summit. A couple things I learned were that self-reflection is a big theme for the summit, and I think it's going to be really important for us to think about during the whole time and really take away key lessons. I really enjoyed Raj's speech and what he had to say. And yeah, I think the discussion was really great. We got to really peer into each other's lives for a second, and I hadn't even met the people, 10 minutes ago. So it was really nice to really just be honest with everyone and be open. So I think that was really great to establish a really good dynamic with the group that would really allow for a nice conversation.
Hi, I'm Allison, and today was my first day at the summit, and I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from Raj's talk on Liberia, and also we talked about privilege and sacrifice, which I thought was really interesting because a lot of people view us as like privileged college students, like what's our place in global health, but we really do have a place, and you put your privilege aside and then work to help other people, and then do something. Thank you.
What's up, I'm Max. I just got done with my first day of my first GlobeMed Summit. I was very impressed by our keynote speaker and by the energy that you could feel in the whole room. Actually, in my small group that is entitled Small Group Big Ideas, we passed around a pact of signing exactly where we see ourselves in 20 years, and one of our group members has promised to come back and call each and every one of us in 20 years to see if we have fulfilled our passions and still have a passion for global health equity. So that's the most long-lasting pact I've ever signed in my life, and this is video footage of me acknowledging that.
I'm Katie Smiley, and I didn't have the opportunity to go to the speaker today because I had class, unfortunately, but I really enjoyed the discussion on personal motivations and global health. I'm thoroughly convinced that my small group thinks I'm like the most paranoid person in the world, though, because in like answering 2 short questions, I revealed pretty much all of my paranoia concerning my life and the complications of being successful in global health and like what it means to cross the line between advocating and patronizing, and how I don't think that academia will actually do anything, but I think that's the only thing that I'm able to do. So all in all, I think it was stressful, but I think we gained some really good ideas, and we all talked about collectivity and our futures and what we can all do if we work together in the best of situations. So.
Hi, I'm Laura Roosh. I had an awesome first night of the summit. Raj's speech was really cool. In small groups, I got to know people from different schools, and mostly we talked about how we all have different motivations, different personal experiences that have brought us into GlobeMed and gotten us involved with the organization, and we all have slightly different goals for the future, and some of us even have barriers in terms of our own family members or our parents don't really agree with our opinions, but in the end it's all about kind of discerning what we want for our futures and figuring out where we are best fit to help.
Hi, it's Gabriella. The highlight for me
me for the first day of the summit was definitely listening to other students from across the country who are as passionate about global health as I am, and listening to their reasons behind their passion, and this was definitely an amazing experience.
It's real Tiffany. I guess some stuff to say. Today was really awesome. We saw a lot of fresh faces, a lot of familiar faces. We had a really great conversation about discernment and why we're doing global health, why we're interested in GlobeMed. We talked a lot about long-term engagement and also the end goal of eventually just pulling out as organizations and what that means for the communities we're helping. So really excited for the rest of the summit, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, that's all we got for now. I'll be more regular about video blogging tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a packed day, going from 9 to probably 10 again at night. Paul Farmer's coming to the town, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But we got a great day tomorrow, so keep up to date on our YouTube posts, and see you around.